Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed legislation prohibiting children younger than 14 from having any social media accounts, saying, which, of course, I completely agree with him, that social media is harmful to their development and to their mental health. Now, obviously, there are others who say this is totally this is not within the scope of the government's job. This is a parental issue. And I have really mixed feelings about this because I do think that children should be away from social media. My children do not have, well, my younger child is 3, so he definitely doesn't have a phone or an iPad or anything like that. But my older child is 11, almost 12. And I don't even have a timeline as to when he's going to get a phone or an iPad or anything like that, because it's just entirely inappropriate for children to be on social media. So I know that as a parent. And so this feels like a win. But then it's like, I don't know. It feels like an overreach of government. And I love Ron DeSantis. I feel like anytime I'm criticizing Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump, I have to be like, I love the guy. But I thought it would be an interesting conversation of, is this an overreach of the state telling you what you can or cannot do with your children?
Well, I actually got into this online, which I probably shouldn't, and I'm conflicted as well. But
by the way, hold on. Matthew Marsden is the greatest parenting expert because he has 1 billion children.
1,000,000,005. No, I mean, I think that unfortunately, you're in a situation where parents are not monitoring their kids for the most part, and I think that something like TikTok is very, very damaging. I mean, it's very different in China to the one that we've got here. I think for young women, it's destroying their sense of self. I think for men, they don't know, it's gateway to porn, all this. So I would come down on the side of, yes, I think it's a good thing to ban it for kids, although I don't like that. I wish that we lived in a different world. I also disagree with the libertarian, and for the most part, I'm on the side of libertarians, but I don't think that everything is okay. I don't think that everything should be allowed because, I mean, clearly we have restrictions on alcohol and other things that we know are damaging to kids who their brains aren't formed properly. So I really do think that it's a good thing. The school that my kids go to, there's no social media. There's a social media blanket. And I know that you love that, right? I mean, I think that because what you do...
Hold on, explain to them what you mean by that. You guys, all the families who enter the school have to sign something saying we will not allow our children to have social media.
Our kids will not have social media. So what you don't have is one kid that has it, someone that doesn't, and then they're like, and listen,
that drives me nuts.
Yeah, and it's hard for the kids,
Ruin
right?
it for all of us.
So none of my kids have social media, not a single one. I have a 17-year-old, 15, 14, 11, and 8. None of them have it. They will not have it as long as I live in my house. We don't do that. Yeah. And it's because I know what is out there.
Right.
And they're minors at the end of it. They don't have the same rights that I have. And that's just kind of the end of it. What concerns me about the bill is, what is social media? Right. Is this online gaming? Does this extend to Fortnite? Does this extend to playing Modern Warfare with your friends? How far does this bill get to reach? So overreach is something I always consider when the government institutes a new policy that controls more. Now, if the idea is to protect children, I'm always for it.
Me too.
Good start place. Good
starting place. Yeah, me too. That's why it's like, I feel like it's a win for kids, period.
Yes.
Right? Like, this is a win for children. You just worry about how it will be used against us later on in other areas.
Well, that's where we are, right? I mean, every single thing that goes through, you're like, how are they going to, number one, what do they really mean by it? Like, are they really, I would look at that initially and go, not with Ron DeSantis, but with some of the other stuff they've put through, like about TikTok. Are they really doing this to TikTok, or are they trying to shut down Elon Musk? Right? Is that really what they're trying to do? Because the Democrats have done nothing. They clearly do not care about kids. They clearly don't care about things like the border and anything that is human-based, like they say they do, but they don't. So it's a sad place that we're at, where we look and we say, well, where are they going with this? What is the real... with Ron DeSantis, it's slightly different because he's great.
I believe him.
He's totally great.
Yes.
He's consistent.
He is consistent.
So I get it, and I get that as well. It's difficult, but at the end of the day, it's destroying kids.
It is.
I mean, it's
TikTok
absolutely
is the only
destroying them.
propaganda site that is not controlled by U.S. intelligence. It's the only reason that the government's talking about it. That is all.
So I like that you brought that up. So I'm going to play here. We have this thing that you may not know, Adam. We call it welfare check, where people can call in and voice their opinions on certain things that we're talking about. You know, if they hate me, that's fine too. They can let us know at 888-969-5113. And we had a particular call talking about when we were discussing the supposed TikTok ban or proposed TikTok ban. And this is what he had to say.
The one thing I did want to say was the subject of TikTok. I know that you're just dead set against it. You don't like it. But I think
don't like
that
TikTok
is
is
what
what
they're
he's
trying
saying.
to do with the TikTok ban is a Trojan horse. I think if we allow them to censor or eliminate or ban TikTok, then what platform is next? Anytime we give these shitbags
I like this
any
guy.
kind of a little
He's
bit
my
of room,
people.
they come in and abuse that power. I know that you're addressing the child stuff that these kids are accessing through TikTok, but on the flip side of that, the responsibility is the parents. The parents should be doing their damn job and being parents and not allowing that access
totally
to
agree.
the kids.
So there's nothing
Right.
there's nothing that I disagree with him on there. The TikTok ban, to your point, Adam. So if we could root out whether or not it is an actual national security risk, which I would say it is, not just because it's controlled by the CCP, but because our children are in a mental health crisis because of that app, I feel like you could make the argument that it's a national security risk. Now, what we found out later on the TikTok ban is that the way that it was written, of course, gives them the ability to get rid of like any social media or website. So it was absolutely a Trojan horse.
Yes, everything is. Every bill always is.
Yeah. It's a slippery slope.
I think the other issue we're looking at with DeSantis and talking about all this is conservatives have this point of always saying conservatives never really do anything. They always talk about doing something to do things. DeSantis actually does things. When he puts his boots on the ground, he gets things done. So we can't sit here and say Republicans aren't doing anything. DeSantis is doing something. Maybe we should let it play out because someone is finally pushing back in the areas that we do want pushback. And someone has to make the hard decisions. So we can sit here and convetch left and right all day long about it. But here is a conservative who actually has his interest in children and taking care of them and doing something about it.
Yeah.
Well, there's the other issue that gets me is why do we need these giant bills? Like, why are they always like? Do you remember? Like, you got. What is it? I was going to do your Nancy Pelosi.
What did Nancy do this
You
time?
gotta like pass it before you can read it.
We have to pass the bill so we can find out what's in it.
There you go. So why isn't this bill 3 pages long?
Right.
Why? I
It's
mean,
like, what was this one? Like 600 pages or something?
It's just giant, and nobody reads it. Everyone's like, whatever. So it's that to me. Again, it's kind of like a great analogy of government, right? It's just way too big and way too complicated. It doesn't need to be that complicated. Yes. It should be stripped down, and every American should know and be able to know what is in that bill. Instead of like, hey, listen, this is a bill about healthcare, but let's just take over all student loans, right? Like, we need to demand this of them, or we need to say, look, it's going to be, I'd love it if they had like a 5-page maximum of any bill, right? Like that's it.
Right.
It's got to be 5 pages, right? You should be able to explain it in a PowerPoint, and that's it. And just strip it all the way down so they can stop being so shady and slimy. I mean, we're really doing this. Like, American citizens are saying this all the time. Like, why are you betraying us constantly?
Right.
You would have loved my speech on January 6th. They never talked about it, but I actually gave a speech behind that lectern, and it covered all 3 of those things. No more treason, no more traitors, and we're voting on one budget item at a time.
Yeah.
And I think it solves everything.
If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.